Oh, good evening, everyone. Ready to start the meeting. First item on the agenda is to receive apologies for absence.
Councillor Jones.
Okay. Variation of order of business. None. Declaration of members' interests. Do we have any? No. Minutes. We need to confirm the minutes of the Finance Committee meeting of the 16th of September.
I'll propose them.
I'll
Okay.
second them.
Thank you. In favour, everyone? Yeah. Updates re bank accounts. Do we have any information?
Yeah, if it's all right with yourself, I'll share the finance report which has the bank accounts in it. Are you happy with that, Chair?
Yes.
Can everyone see them?
Yes.
So the main bits tell us that there's no difference to our bank accounts other than you can see where I'm showing there the totals as of the end of September showed Santander going up incredibly enough a small amount again as yet another allotment of rent was paid into the wrong account.
Oh, extraordinary.
Yes, the instant account is unmoved and the big change is here in the current account, and we'll come to that as I come down onto the receipts. So those are the bank accounts unchanged. The summary of September was one of gains rather than losses. We opened with 150, nigh on £116,000, but we see an awful lot of receipts. We received £72 allotment rents. An old jam jar was found in the newsagents containing the tennis court rents for probably the last year, which I receipted to them, and that will be in the records signed by myself and the post office to show that, because I had to pay in as cash, and there'll be a signed invoice receipt for you to check, whichever person checks my records later. This is the important one, that the interim report was had been submitted by myself to our CEF, and here's Derby Council paying the first payment requested by ADAS minus the VAT. So that's in our account in September.
I thought it was Nottingham.
I think it's Derby. It could be not. It could be me wrong. I could be wrong, Jackie. It could be Nottingham.
I think it was Nottingham, actually, Andy.
Yes.
Yeah, that will explain the bank bit when we get to it. And then we were a little worried, if you remember, when COVID started, would the second precept and council tax support arrive? Well,
Yes.
there they are. And there was the insurance claim I mentioned at the last parish council meeting.
Right.
In terms of expenditure, that was very similar to previous years, just over 4,000, of which we paid £114 in VAT. And so when we come back up, I do apologise, we look at the reconciliation for the end of September and we find ourselves up to 153,833. That amount there has to balance with that amount there, and they check and balance. I can't remember any major. What I would point out is that what we received from RCEF, we paid out in October. So when we do the October ones, you'll see that money has disappeared, and then I'll be claiming the VAT back. This, remember, is just September.
Right. Yes.
That really is the finance reports. We received more than we paid out by a substantial amount.
That's very comforting.
Yes. Well, yes. Any questions on the month of September?
No.
No.
But the next, so the next report is the 6-month projection, which again is tricky to do. I'll bring that up again. So this is the project. If we take the first tranche, which is administration, we see, as we already know, my not realising the rate of pay would go up for the clerks, and the annual pay rise, and that, of course, the PAYE was in there as well. And we're not 1,165% predicted, it's 116%. That's manageable.
To have too many digits in it, that number.
Yes, it has. You can lose one of the one. You can lose the 5 at the end. Look at 116%.
Yes.
Yes. So caretaker's wages is going to come in under. I've said I'm going to do it. there's no sign of my expenses. The unexpected one was this the website accessibility bill, which we paid, and you see us coming in at 269%, because you would never. I put it under internet services. I'll have to explain that to the auditor next year. I don't have a major problem with that. Nothing else there really stands out. So that by the end of this year, I project that particular section will be a little bit over. The civic expenditure, this bit where I'm predicting we might spend almost half of it. Well, Tony, you've still got a chair's allowance to use if you so desire. The 137 is hardly touched, although a couple of the resolutions we made at the last month's meeting, we can use 137 as the reason for paying for them. But still, we've got a lot to spend. Unless people apply for it, it's not going to happen. I haven't any buildings maintenance to do. Electricity, I've optimistically said it'll cost us £150. Well, they've just given us another £100 back, which you'll see in October for closing a bill. So trade is really the only accurate, one of the few accurate figures I've got there, apart from water. So I think that 4,000 will be well underspent there. Waste bins, I'm pleased. Village amenities, we've bought that second dual waste bin, and there it is, perfect. Christmas trees and lights, we might, if the lights fail, the existing lights, we might spend a bit on that. I should have omitted bonfire night fireworks. Salt and grit, an unknown variable, and grit bins, again, we might have to replace one. So unless we get, yeah, that's going to be under as well. Tourism and promotions, there's a good chance you will authorise a newsletter at some point, because I believe one of you raised the issue. That could make that 1,100 pay. This is the biggie. Contracted gardeners are over at the moment, which is what I expect at the end of the summer. Projection of just being over by a teeny amount. It'll go down from now on. I'm going to book that second playground inspection imminently. That will be about right. Playground equipment, we may have been closer than we thought by putting 10,000 there, because we're going to pay out 2,400 imminently. Whether we have any more failures depends on the inspection. So that, I'm saying 5,000. The arch, no, that's not going to be spent. The tennis court, I would like to do some work on that. Repairs and materials and running costs are running reasonably okay. Baskets, I think you'll find will be virtually bang on with Chris's order for the year. DCC mowing, depends whether they ask us. Tree works, well, we're out to spend best part of that 2,000 on the surveys. So if we get any extra work out of that, that may come into this other works here. Travel expenses, I've not claimed any, who knows. And allotment works, interestingly, I was doing my meeting with them last night about the Constitution, etc., and said, did we have any plans for expenditure on the site? And they weren't coming up with anything. And then right at the end of the meeting, someone said that the gate's on its last legs. And I thought, well, goodness me, it was on its last legs in terms of security when I was a member a year ago. So I said, I'm going to hunt out with Chris like for like replacement, because that gate it won't last much longer. So they might go over. But when I add in what I didn't spend last year, so that'll be fine. So if we went with all my predictions, we'd look quite good at spending 93% of the budget, but I think that's a massive overestimate, 93% of the budget, and I think we will be safe and have a decent reserve going into the next financial year. I'm hoping it won't be too far out and I have too many explanations to give the auditors. This is halfway through the year. We don't know what else is going to be thrown at us. We didn't expect the tree surveys after that tree fell down. We don't know what the tree works will be. The playgrounds have had equipment's had an awful lot of wear and tear. That budget might go large. I'd like to spend 90% of the budget, but I have a feeling I'll be under.
Right, and we're still waiting for the bridge, aren't we?
Yes, and the bridge. I'm saying the bridge. I've accounted for the bridge. If we don't get the bridge, I'm really going to. Well, we'll have to look at other methods.
But we've already spent an awful lot of money, being half a 50% deposit, wasn't it, on the
Well,
money?
we spent 10,000 on it last year. We've paid up everything for the side panels and the plaques, albeit I know for certain the Civic Trust are rather keen to pay for some of those plaques from those organisations who can't. But we've paid that out already. I really, it's crazy to say it, but I really do need that £10,000 bill.
Hmm.
I can account for it, but it'll just mean I'll get questioned by the external auditor.
What do you mean the £10,000 bill?
Well, if the bridge is put in, we'll pay the second half of it, which is 10,000, and
Right.
that is here. You see my little thing
Yes.
there?
Yep.
I'm hoping half of that 20,000. Yeah, awaiting bridge install of 10,000. If we have the bridge install, that accounts for half of my projected 20,000 on other works.
Right.
The pressure is on.
Okay.
So, any questions, everybody? I mean, from a financially speaking, we're looking very healthy.
We are.
Tony.
Very organised.
Tony.
Yeah, a couple of comments. I think we do right to plan for the worst and hope for the best as far as finance is concerned. It's very difficult this year. Next year, we might find that things like the May Queen, if they are to run, they will find that they've not been able to do any fundraising. So we might get hit more for people wanting money next year. But as regards to the bridge, I think perhaps we should make it a part 2 item at the next full council meeting.
Noted.
And we haven't had money out for the right turner this time.
When are
that
you
would
having it?
have helped on the 137, wouldn't it? But yeah, I think I'm always happy when there's a good reserve, but I know I have to account for it, and COVID, I hate to say it, will be the justification for a vast amount of the underspend.
Well, I'm wondering how you can hold a right turner when there's COVID around, because they're all in the wrong age group.
We can't have it till next year. I'm just saying there's no money gone out for that.
Oh, okay, right, yes, understand.
Yeah, there we see that we would have had we would have made a contribution at this point, which would have brought that closer to that, but no. We will. I mean, if, for example, the apple juice will go in there as a 137 under tourism. If that leaflet ever gets printed, or I have a feeling people, the green energy one, I have a feeling Sustainable Hayfield may be going cold on that. That would go in there.
I honestly think we need a newsletter for ourselves.
Yeah, well, that would be good, and that would bring this bit down here, hopefully up to 100%.
Why do we put our newsletter under tourism?
You can put it wherever you want. It's just I've got leaflets written there.
Oh, originally those were the tourism leaflets, which were different from the newsletters. Newsletters.
It is in a funny place. I think really it would go under. Yeah, I think next year I'll be creating it a different. It wouldn't come under tourism and promotions. Maybe it would come under amenities, or civic expenditure would fit it better.
Yes, because you get one per household telling you what's going on, whereas the tourism leaflets get distributed all over the place.
That's true.
Or they used to. They might not. That might not happen anymore.
I mean, we've tourism. We haven't done it, but leaflets in tourism, yeah, it can be removed. Any other questions there, or
No.
okay? I'll stop here.
Good, thank you.
Pleasure.
Has Kath got anything to say? I'm sorry.
No, I can't find any fault with anything at the moment. I've no questions.
Right. I just wondered whether it was that or whether you were having technical troubles.
No. Just being quiet for a change.
All right. Okay. Accounts for payment.
I point out we did get two late invoices. One, the British Legion's wreath, which I sort of took as a given, unfortunately, and the handheld speed radar. You'll notice that isn't 450, but I spoke to Derbyshire Constabulary and said the setup is the 450 is for the radar gun, the high vis jackets, and the notice boards that go with it. So it'll come in 3 parts, but that was from the last parish council meeting.
And can we pay for it or not?
Yeah, Yeah. I would pay out and then I can claim back to yourselves.
Could you need to put in the application form, Andy?
And Andy.
Yeah.
And
Well,
then-
so what I was doing, I was waiting to get. So I've got the speed camera, and I've written and spoken today to the sign manufacturers that the police recommend, and the jacket providers, and I'm waiting for their costs. As soon as I've got that, I can do a dual application to I can't remember the name of the fund, but I know it's.
You'll have to do one for me and one for Tony.
But I can almost split it. One for the gun and one for the safety equipment.
Yeah.
All right.
You can put two names on it. One will do.
All right. Okay. Excellent. I'll do that. Everything else, I've sent the invoices, the scan, and you've got the checklist. I hope they tie up. Chair, are you happy with them?
I'm being honest, I haven't looked at them.
There is one tricky one.
Well, when I looked at them, I've looked at them on a piece of paper, but I haven't double checked.
Right. The Ryan's DIY as ever, I struggle to find the BACS details. So if you authorise the payment, I will be wandering around the village with a checkbook to get a check signed. So that won't be it isn't on the awaiting authorisations on the BACS payments, but it still needs this meeting to authorise the payment for me to go around with the checkbook.
Right.
I'm quite impressed with Chris getting the winter plants bang on.
Yeah, they look lovely.
He's done a good job again.
They look lovely.
Good. He is quite good at it, isn't he?
Yeah. I saw him yesterday and I said how good they looked again.
Mm.
Perhaps we should, if we can remember, perhaps we should give him our thanks at the next council meeting.
I think it'd be very good, that, Tony.
1 minute. Yep.
Yeah.
They're doing their usual thing of just getting on with their job behind the scenes, regardless of what's going on.
Wish I
Good
could.
one. Right. Has anybody had a chance to check the BACS payment list against the invoices?
Yeah,
Did it look good to you?
looks fine to me.
Did anyone have the time to check the payments list against the list of transactions prepared for authorization?
I've been the checklist.
Well, the checklist versus the transactions on the bank. Awaiting.
I've looked at the bank. You mean?
You've checked the bank against the checklist.
Those are waiting.
The ones that are waiting, yes.
I think I only had a quick look, I must admit. There didn't look a very long list there. Were they all there?
You're just missing Ryan's. So here is the checklist. Can everyone see it?
Yeah.
Mhm.
And it'll have, I think, 11. And of these 12 payments, only 11 will be on the awaiting authorization, because this one needs to be paid by check.
Check. And what's the other one then?
No, it's just, hang on, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. There will be 11 waiting for payment on the bank account. And the list has only got 12 on it. And of the 12, 11 are waiting to be paid. This one will have to be by check.
Can it have a check reference number?
It will do when I write it.
Okay.
And you'll see that on the cash book.
I'm happy to do the authorization after the meeting.
Well, the trouble is you're also doing the other form of checking. And I think it might be very welcome that the offer is. It might be better if somebody else offers, because you're checking.
Try and do something for you here. Hang on a second. I'll just stop that share. Just give me a second. If someone's still got the checklist.
Yes.
Right, just give me a second. See if I can share this in a minute. Come on. It's just a bit slow because there's that many people in this house using the internet.
Oh, right.
I'll be there in a second. It's just to get your minds at ease.
It's with the authorizing the transactions and the checking of the bank statements. I'm wondering if it ought to be done by different people so that one person wasn't at both sides of it, as it were.
Yeah.
Well,
So-
I'll do either one if you want.
Yeah, and I'll do the other one. So if you do the checklist, Tony, and I'll do the authorization afterwards.
Okay.
I've got to
Just
leave the
going-
meeting in a bit, but I've promised I'll come back in
Well,
once they're sorted. Sorry?
I can do the authorized payment if you like.
Okay.
So I've got 2 people authorising payments, and Tony at some point will be going into the office to look through my physical receipts versus
Yeah, and then I'll email you both once I've done that.
that doesn't happen. That has to happen tonight. But those are the awaiting authorisation from the bank account, which hopefully will match the checklist.
Yep,
And when you're happy with that, then take a vote whether you want to go ahead with the.
absolutely. Right.
I think you'll find they're in reverse order. So the top of the checklist will be this one.
Yes, laser tech is the top of the authorization list, and that was last on the checklist. Yes.
Yeah.
So, are we happy to pay to authorize the payments for all 12 items listed? So that's including the check payment.
I'll propose them.
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favour? Okay. So that's authorised.
Very good.
And right, we now have to find a date of our next finance committee meeting.
And that will be
18th.
too good for me. Correct.
18th of November. Really, life rushes by.